Welcome to the Brewery Adventure. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Dan. We're here to dive into the world of your local brewery.
It's not just about the beer, it's about the vibe, the people, and the stories behind each tap room.
From small neighborhood spots to big bustling brew houses, we'll bring you along for the ride.
So grab a pint and join us on the Brewery Adventure. Cheers! I don't know if we were supposed to make a clanking noise at the end of that, but...
Oh, I almost got the fly.
Is it a fly or is it a bee?
No, it's a fly. I wouldn't be grabbing a bee. I'm definitely allergic.
Oh!
Just kidding. I'm just joking.
All right. Here we are on another brewery adventure.
That's right. What an adventure it's been. We're already being dive bombed by insects.
It's a very exciting day. We are at Wandering Leaf in St. Paul. Maybe the game has stopped behind us.
Yeah, if you hear any noises in the background, it's because somebody gave some kid a brick of cocaine and then let them go play pinball, and it sounds like they're learning to tap dance. We also have a very boisterous game of Uno going on behind us. But that's great. You know, one thing that I love about tap rooms is the energy, and a tap room should be a place for everybody. Wandering Leaf, one of the reasons we probably both gravitate towards here a lot is that it's got a lot of cool space, there's a lot of different activities, and it's a good family-friendly spot.
Yes, and I don't always lean toward the family friendliness of spots.
True.
But I like it here, and it's usually under control here.
Yes. Except for today. I don't know how that kid got their hands on that brick of cocaine, but whatever. It will be fine. It's all good.
We're not sitting like too terribly close to that pinball machine, but it sounds like we are.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully that kid will need a nap soon,
yeah,
and then maybe
then
it'll sound very peaceful. It'll be like an Enya album, you know, the Orinoco Flows or whatever it's called.
It's all gonna change.
That's a good. You'll be relaxed in no time.
Dan, I need to take a sip of this before we get into things.
Oh yeah, what are you drinking?
I am drinking the Adventure Cat Dunkelweizen. Exactly. That was nice. That was good.
That's right.
Have you been working on that? Practicing it?
I don't know if I ever told you this, but there was a brief stint in my professional careir where I toured with cats.
I really want that to be true. You don't know what you're doing right now.
That's why that tattoo on my thigh says Mr. Mustapha-Lees. No, I had a cat growing up, so I've just gotten good at mimicking animal sounds. So
good to know.
That's part of my charm.
I like it. What are you drinking?
I've got the Fest beer because we're here. You know, we're in the Oktoberfest mode, I guess you could say.
We are in Oktoberfest.
Yeah, we just completed the first weekend of Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
But should we try to get a nice little cheers clink here?
Let's see if we can do it.
Oh, fancy.
I don't know if that was the best clink.
It's also this type of glass
good.
I think is harder to clink than a pint because it's tippy. It's top heavy.
It is top heavy, and we have very different drinkware.
Yeah, you've got more of the low ball.
Got a little shorty.
Yeah, which is also interesting. If you're listening and you've never been to Wandering Leaf, they have 3 sizes. So they have the large, which I believe is 18 ounces, and the small is 12 ounces, and then they have 5-ounce tasters.
Yes, they just don't have a flight holder for the taster.
Oh God. Here we go.
It's like the only bad thing I can ever say about Wandering Leaf, and one day they're going to fix it.
Yeah.
I believe in them.
I mean, one can hope. One can pray. One can wish.
One can wish. This was, again, every time I walk in the door here, there's just like that moment. You take your first step in, you're all of a sudden amongst all of the plants, and there's just this really nice breath you can take.
Yeah. This is a very colorful, very soothing tap room. I like all the plants. I think when we were here a couple weeks ago, I showed you a picture that I took from the very first weekend that they opened.
Yes.
And the plants were very small. And it's kind of, you know, sometimes it's hard to tell how a place has changed and evolved, but this is kind of a good barometer. And one of the 4 owners was a horticulturist. He has his background is in horticulture and worked for a winery for a long time, so he knows plants. He is very smart. But you were identifying a lot of the plants in here, and kind of like I was impressed. I felt, you know, I've never felt more like I don't belong at this table because everybody is like, oh, this is the rhododendronus caspalis.
They were not that fancy. It was my very tiny bit of plant knowledge.
Yeah. So, but I like this spot. This is a good place, Wandering Leaf in St. Paul. Since they opened, I've been coming here a lot. It's just the beers are very solid. Erica, their head brewer, is very talented and very good at what she does. And their 4 owners are just awesome people, and their taproom staff is great. Just there's really I could go on and on about what I love about this place. And we're here. The wall with the outlets is right next to this beautiful mural. And I love this shade of green. This is my favorite shade of green. Between this and heavy rotation, those two shades of green, I really like those.
Yeah. And this was the first place that I met you.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in, I was here with Micah from 56.
Yes, you were.
And Robbie introduced me to you. He's like, there's another podcaster here? I'm like, where? Who are they? I must meet them. And then, the rest is history. And then we hung out for a bit at the Winter Beer Dabbler.
Yes, we did.
That was really fun, too.
Yeah, but it's all because of the guys at Wandering Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks, Wandering Leaf.
Beer can bring people together. I truly believe that. And that's one of the many things I like about the craft beer industry.
Well, Dan, we've been on a bit of an adventure.
Yes, we have.
The last couple days.
Are you sick of me yet? You've been seeing a lot of me.
No. We've had such a good time. We have been going all over the place to various Oktoberfest fests.
Yeah. Oktoberfest. No, fests. Oktoberfests. Yeah, it's a great time of year. Every year. I wish it was a little cooler, because I think for me, being outside drinking mugs of malty beer, I'd like it to be in the mid 60s, low 70s. That's kind of perfect for me. It was a little warmer, kind of rainy this weekend, but we did pack a lot in, and
we did.
This is just a fun time of year. It's a very Oktoberfest goes way back. It started in Germany in 1810.
Very nice.
Did you know that? And a lot of people think that Oktoberfest in Munich was always like the purpose of it was a beer festival. Did you know? And maybe your listeners are going to learn something here.
Fun facts.
Oktoberfest was actually a marriage. It was a wedding celebration, which is why Udapils, their Oktoberfest is called Receptional. So it was Prince Ludwig, the Prince of Bavaria, was marrying Princess Teresa van Walderheimer, I believe is how it's pronounced.
Hildburghausen.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Hildburghausen?
I'm probably not saying it
in
correctly,
this economy. You got to get out of here. Yeah, so it was a wedding celebration, and there was a horse race, and then there was a special beer brewed for the wedding. A lot of people, maybe you know this, maybe you don't. I believe if you're over in Germany at Oktoberfest, you're probably not going to find a lot of the Marzen style beers, which is what is pretty common over here. I think there's 3 main styles of beer celebrating Oktoberfest. There's the Marzen style, and then there's the Fest beer. So Marzens tend to be a lot darker. They're a lot more caramely, and I think they're just a little bit higher in ABV, although sometimes they're very similar. There's also a third style that is not very common here, from what I'm told, and this is according to Derek Brown, the head brewer at Town Hall Brewery, and he knows his stuff. He actually studied over there. It's called Wiesen. It's not like a Hefeweizen.
Yeah.
Weisen. It is a very light, crisp lager that is delicious. And actually, if you go to Town Hall or Town Hall Tap or Town Hall Lanes, Town Hall Station,
yeah,
you'll probably around this time of year they brew a traditional Wiesen. Is either Wiesen or Wiesen. I didn't take German in high school. I took Espanol.
I took 1 year of German, and I think I've relayed to you that I can say Ich heiße Courtney, I can say Ich komme aus Minnesota, and Ich liebe dich. And I probably didn't pronounce any of that correctly.
Yeah.
Because I'm having a hard time today pronouncing English things correctly. So,
right. Well, it happens.
That was the extent of my German.
Yeah. So, another fun fact, I'm going to stop talking about Oktoberfest facts.
No, I like it.
So now there's a lot of breweries do Oktoberfest style beers, either a Marzen, a Fest beer, or a Wiesen or Wiesen. The Oktoberfest started with 6 original breweries pouring their beers at the festival. And now, according to people I know who have gone, each brewery has like their own tent.
Oh.
So in my mind, I guess I was thinking it was just like one big tent with like different stations.
Yeah.
But each major brewery has their own tent. The 6 original breweries at the 1810 Oktoberfest were, in no particular order, Hackershore, Paulaner, Augustiner, Löwenbräu, Hofbräu, and Spaten. Those were the 6 original breweries at the original Oktoberfest. And obviously it's grown since then.
I just need to point out that you rattled those off the top of your head, and it's not, you didn't just read them off of a list.
Well,
this is just stuff you know, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like beer history is very interesting to me to read up on different things and understand kind of like how things came to be. And I did just read, well, not recently finished, but within the last couple months, I finished a book on lagers, and it's a great book. If you see it, it's like it had a lot of information about like kind of like the history of lager and different things. So it's called A Brief History of Lager, 500 years of the world's favorite beer. And it is written by Mark Dredge. It's a great book, A Brief History of Lager, 500 Years of the World's Favorite Beer, written by Mark Dredge. It's a really interesting read because it goes back and talks about the historical kind of like evolution of beer throughout the years, starting in kind of like, it starts in Germany, and then it talks about beer in England, beer in the Czech Republic, and all over the world, essentially. But he also intermingles his own travels to like Oktoberfest and different things. And it's a great book, and I want to thank Aaron Ziert for lending it to me.
Aww.
It's a great read. So check that out if you're looking for a new book to read. It's a lot of information, but there's some cool storytelling in there too.
I will find a link for that and put it in our show notes.
Yeah, definitely do that. That's
and
great.
And probably order it at the same time.
Yeah. Also, he talks about, when I think of food at Oktoberfest, I think of like brats and pretzels, but he's like, oh no, it's like you can get like a whole chicken, big, huge like pork chops and different things like that. Like I want to go so bad. The only problem is like it's happening now.
Yeah.
I think it starts, typically the traditional start date is around September 20th, and then it goes for, I believe it's 3 or 4 weekends, and then it wraps up in early October. So,
it's
or maybe
the
it's the second weekend.
You,
yeah, I know. So it's like the worst time to take a week off, but someday I'll get there. Someday.
Well, we started our Oktoberfest off on Friday.
Yes, we did.
And I started it off with a big mistake.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. What was your mistake?
I know. I vaguely remember you telling me about this. We were going to Fulton's Oktoberfest. I was like, I know where Fulton is. Yay, Fulton. I went downtown. I got a parking spot that didn't suck. I was really excited about it. There was a Twins game that was happening, so it felt like I did a really good job getting this parking spot because it was busier than it normally would be. Go walk into Fulton. It doesn't look very fest-like in Fulton. I wait in line for a couple people. I get my beer, and I like, is Oktoberfest going on this weekend? And the guy looks at me and he's like, oh, wait right there. And he brings over a piece of paper where he had written a different address. And he's like, it's at this location. It is not here.
Always at their production facility.
Yeah. So I already had a beer. I had to stay and drink it, Dan.
Yeah. What beer did you get?
I got their Oktoberfest beer.
Oh, yeah. Which is good.
'Tis the season.
Yeah. Fulton has a decent Oktoberfest. Among most styles that they do are really, really good.
Yeah, so I sat at Fulton proper and had a beer, met a couple guys at the end of the bar who were in town for the Vikings game this weekend, and we talked about beer and what breweries they should go visit. We talked about what our plans were going to be for Saturday, going up to Lupulin, and they were like, oh, where's that? I said, well, it's a little bit out of the metro, and they're like, oh, we don't have a car. And I was very close to being like, I'll pick you up. You should come to this. No.
They're like, no. I mean, if they were in Minneapolis, there was so much going on.
Yes.
With like Farm Aid, that happened yesterday. Did you know that concert didn't get done till like 1 in the morning?
Yeah.
Like a very, very extensive, long concert. But yeah, this was a busy weekend in Minnesota, in Minneapolis especially.
I gave them some different brewery suggestions for them to go to that were a little bit less car intensive.
Yeah, well, and depending on if they were staying in that area, you could just walk around, and there's so many good things to do between the bars and breweries and just restaurants, like in the North Loop, that area. Really good.
Yeah, so that was my mistake. Then
well, luckily you did find your way to the tent, and that's kind of a fun Oktoberfest that they do. They've been doing it probably, I don't know when they kind of started, but basically, if you ever remember going to gas stops, in Northeast Minneapolis,
yep.
that they used to do an Oktoberfest, and I think back when I was in college, we would go. And then I don't know what year it was. Gastov's had awful PR issue.
Yeah.
And long story short, they hosted some sort of German historical dinner where people were dressed up as SS officers.
Yeah.
And somebody in there took a photo of it and leaked it to City Pages. There was a big article in City Pages, and then people, including myself, were kind of done with Gastov's after that because what the hell? That's ridiculous and awful and disgusting and all the other words you want to say about it. But then Fulton kind of picked up the torch of that celebration because I think Gastov's closed shortly after COVID or maybe before COVID. I don't quote me on that, but I remember it was around that time.
Yeah.
But then the last couple of years, Fulton has had their Oktoberfest party at their production facility, and they have not just their beers, they have a lot of their beers, but then they had Hackershore and they had Polliner.
Yeah.
And I can't remember which other, were those the only two bigger beer brands?
I thought there was one more.
Okay, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
But they have a great thing, and it's a huge party. They have great music. They have the German style tables where you have to be really careful how many people are sitting on a bench because if you get up, it's like a teeter-totter. And I did once get smacked in the swimsuit area, and that was horrible. I was like, okay, does anybody need another beer? It was awful. But that's the only, you gotta have your head on a swivel there. So it kind of feels like a fun beer hall atmosphere, and they had cool decorations up. It was raining cats and dogs, so that was the only bad thing. But
it was very dry under the tent.
It was dry under the tent.
There were lots of people out.
Lots of people dressed up in great costumes, funny shirts, different hats. It was kind of a odd sensory deprivation situation. If you had to go to the bathroom, there were no lights out there, so that was a little strange. But it was a fun way to kind of kick off the weekend.
Yes.
Now, do you remember which beers you had?
I had a dark beer from Polliner, and then I had a lighter beer that was not Polliner. It was for the second one.
Hackershore? It
might have been Hackershore.
Yeah, probably because I know one of those had a fest beer. I think with the Hackershore had brought a fest beer as well as Martin.
Yeah.
This is such a fun time of year.
They were so good. And you were very nice. I obviously went to the wrong location, so I wouldn't have remembered other details. You should bring your own Stein.
Oh, yeah. That's just a good pro tip for everybody. I mean, a lot of places will give you beer in plastic cups. That particular event is a Stein-only event, so you need to bring your own Stein. Luckily, I have so many Steins. I have Steins coming out of my ears. I, keep some under my pillow at night just for good luck in case the German tooth fairy shows up and needs a pour of a wheat beer. But yeah, bring your own Stein. And then what I do is I just, collect them. And then I always say, hey, do you need a Stein? Do you want me to bring a Stein? So I bring Steins. But then I like to give them away because I have too many Steins. I have so much beer glassware. It's borderline unhealthy, the amount of glassware I have. It's kind of crazy.
You're allowed to have it.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate you being ready for me to not have one.
Well, I mean, I had to bring one for you and Todd and Fallon. So I had a whole bag of Steins. I could have just called it Santa Claus of Steins there.
You were the Stein fairy.
I was the Stein fairy. Yeah, that's maybe I'll workshop a costume for that. Maybe I'll have wings and some sort of blue and white tutu of some kind with a dirndl and maybe a combo of dirndl and lederhosen.
This needs to happen.
Yeah, that could be good. Also, I want to tell you, this was your first time meeting Nate P. from Shore Lunch with Nate P.
Yeah.
Nate P. is kind of my internet celebrity man crush.
Oh.
I have been a fan of his since his show started in summer of 2020, and he does a fishing show. Nate P. also works for Fulton. He's one of their salespeople, and he's just a great guy. He's super fun. He's hilarious. His fishing show is so educational. The first half is about fishing, and the second half is about cooking. And I'm not just talking about basic stuff like we're going to grill burgers.
Yeah.
He has done steak. He has done scallops. He has done stews, and it's really, really good. So if you're listening to this and you like humor, fishing, or cooking, go give Shore Lunch with Nate P. a follow. It's great. I was talking to him. He just recorded 3 episodes out in Cape Cod. So he goes not just in the Midwest.
Wow.
He'll go all over the place. He's been out to New Jersey. He's been out to Portland. He's done Florida. He was on, he just gets all over. His dream is to go to Norway and fish in Norway. So I think that's his big goal. But Shore Lunch with Nate P. On Friday and Saturday, he was emceeing the Oktoberfest at Fulton. So he had his lederhosen on.
He did a great job.
He's just a good guy. He's a good person. One of the nice people in craft beer that I really enjoy.
You introduced me to him. I knew his name was Nate. I didn't put together the Shore Lunch thing.
Yeah, I get a little. What's the word?
You're a little flustered.
A little starstruck.
Yeah?
Flustered and starstruck. I'm like, oh, you start talking really fast, you black out, and he's a good guy. I also ran into a whole table of former students.
How'd that go?
That was really cool, actually. I was waiting in line to get some food, and then I had a tap on my shoulder, and it was like, Mr. Bobian? And I'm like, oh, hello, it's happening. So I turned around. It was a bunch of former students that I had in class, and then several of them I coached. One of the girls, Biz, I coached her in 8th grade basketball, and then Drew and Mitch, I coached in soccer.
That's cool.
That's kind of fun. And she introduced me to her friend. She was like, this is Mr. Bobian. And I'm like, we're out of the classroom now. You can call. She's like, Dan. He has a first name, Dan. So that's always fun. But I'm guilty of that myself. Like if I run into a former teacher, I always say Mr. or Mrs.
Well, that's how you
just
them.
fall into that kind of mindset. So
yeah.
So that was really funny. I also think we need to talk about the pretzel that was the size of a steering wheel of a city bus at Fulton.
It looked like a little smiley face.
Yes, a nice smiley face with some good cheese and something about pretzels and beer. Oktoberfest pretzels, they're always so good.
They are so good. I wanted mustard though. The cheese was really good. Yep. I'm never gonna don't give me cheese, but I needed some mustard.
Well, the nice thing about it is this is just only the first weekend.
It's true.
Of Oktoberfest, so we got more coming up.
I hope there's mustard in my future.
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be. If I know anything about the world in the next couple of weeks, you will find mustard for your pretzels.
Those pretzels were great. And Nate brought us little shooter drinks.
The Underbergs.
Yeah.
The digestif of choice for many of the craft breweries out there. It's kind of funny. Some places have all sorts of Underberg swag because they go through so much Underberg that Underberg just sends them stuff. Like I've seen tin signs, I've seen little cars, I've seen all sorts of places. And I know there's a lot of, I think most breweries probably have Underberg somewhere on premises, if you ask. Because it's just kind of people. A thing. But I've also seen people who have Rambo bandoliers with little Underberg things, like you'd have shotguns, shells for a double-barreled shotgun shells.
Yeah.
Shotguns. Is that? I'm not a gun guy. So is it slugs? The ammo?
I don't know either.
Somebody's probably yelling at their speaker right now. It's they're called this. But yeah, I've seen people with Underberg things. Chewbacca had his thing. Some people have those for Underberg and they just go around just handing them out. Did you like the Underberg?
Okay, I didn't. I was presented with something to drink.
Yeah.
And I opened it and I knocked it down like everybody else did. I had no idea what I was drinking and then realized that it was black licorice with some spice flavor. The spice flavor was nice. The licorice part, I really don't like black licorice.
It's kind of interesting because it's baking spices, so it's all spicy, kind of cinnamony.
And I liked that aspect of it. That was great.
But the black licorice, just I can't do it. I can't do black licorice. It's not good. And so that or what's that other really gross one that people used to, the drink was called a dead Nazi. Jägermeister. It was Jägermeister and Red Bull was a dead Nazi. That was a very popular drink in the early 2000s.
I've never heard it called that.
Oh, yeah. It's just gross.
I mean, I've had it. I don't know that it was called that when I had it.
Yeah. So, you had your first Underberg experience.
Yeah.
First meeting with Nate P.
It was delightful.
It was just a fun night.
Yeah.
That was good.
We also learned there was some German dancing happening.
Oh, yeah.
And I had some thoughts about the German dancing.
What were your thoughts?
They were fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
They were.
I think the Edelweiss dancers, I think it's a specific troupe.
And it sounds like they do this competitively and they've won some awards. And they were great. But the style of dancing in general is cool. It seems to end up with the men going in the middle of the dance floor and doing these cool slapping their elbows, slapping their hands. hands, like kicking a heel up in the air and slapping a heel.
And they're all dressed in traditional like German garb, which is
But they're
cool.
doing these cool moves in the middle, and the women are circling around them, and maybe once in a while they twirl, and then they all come back together and dance with their partners.
Yeah.
But the women don't get to do like the cool, let's go to the middle and hang out stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, Germans are very like traditional and kind of measured people in general. So maybe the idea of women being on the same par as a man for a traditional dance is just like something, or maybe that's just like
maybe
the women are like, I don't want to slap my knees and thighs. Yeah, I mean, it could just be that. I don't know. I've never really had any FaceTime with any of the Edelweiss dancers to really ask them because I've seen them around. Like they always show up at the Twin Cities Oktoberfest at the fairgrounds, which is going to be happening. We should give a plug for that.
Oh yeah.
The Twin Cities Oktoberfest at the fairgrounds, Friday, October 3rd, and Saturday, October 4th. It's a fun event. I've gone a couple of times. It's organized by Chip Meyer and Ryan Brown, and I gotten to know them over the years. 2 years ago, I did a podcast with them about how that beer festival came to be. So that's a really good one. It's one of the, I think they're on the list of one of the largest Oktoberfest celebrations.
Wow.
I don't know where they are on that list, but they get mentioned.
Yeah.
I know that the one in Shells, the Shells Oktoberfest, is also a very popular regional one. Kansas City has a big one, and I don't know those are the ones that I know that are on like the best United States Oktoberfest celebrations.
This is going to be like my beer festival bucket list.
That could be. I mean, that would be fun to just like try to knock out a bunch of them, and because it's just a kind of it's a good vibe.
It's a good
I
vibe.
really like Oktoberfest. And I like the beer styles, too. I like the Fest beer, like I'm drinking right now. And I like the Marzen. I think the Marzen is easier to drink when it's a little cooler. I'm an equal opportunity. I just like, and the singing.
The singing.
The Ein Prosit song. I don't know the lyrics. I just know the Ziggy Zaggy, oi, oi, oi.
Yeah.
And then you cheers, and then there's more German. And I think by the end of the Oktoberfest season, I am ready to be done with that. I'm like, oh, this is the biggest, what do they call that? An earworm. It just gets in your head, and I'm kind of ready to move on.
But for right now, at the beginning of the season, it's great.
It's good. It's like the school year.
Yeah.
September, everything is new. The kids are all nice, and then in February, I'm like, I'm done with this garbage. First weekend of Oktoberfest, and that was only Friday.
That was only
and
Friday.
we had a whole nother day.
Yeah.
And we could have easily probably done 7 or 8 different beer things yesterday.
There were so
in Minnesota.
many happening.
There were a lot of things going on. I know a couple of years ago, I attempted to put together like a calendar of Oktoberfest events, and I missed a bunch. But it seemed like this weekend is the big weekend. So many things happening. But we chose to...
We had to make choices.
Yeah, we tried to... And I think it was mostly based on what geographically made the most sense.
Yeah.
I always like to go to Lupulin up in Big Lake, Minnesota, because they have a really fun event. I just like that brewery in general. So sometimes I vary the other Oktoberfest things that I do, but Lupulin is always on my list every single year.
Must do.
Yep. Partially because they have both a Marzen and a Fest beer.
Yeah.
And they're both really good. That's where we started.
And I did have both of those beers
We
were there.
You did. Yeah. And what did you think? Which one did you like better?
I liked the Marzen better. They were both great. It's not like one was really, really good and the other was just meh.
Yeah.
Like they were both fantastic.
Yeah. And there's, I mean, it's the same ABV. So it's like
Yeah.
on par, but they are very different beers.
Yes.
I like the Fest beer a little bit more, and I don't know if that's because they don't make as much of it. They don't necessarily, I don't think they might have packaged it this year. They might not have. I don't think they've packaged it in the past. So I think just from a rarity and harder to find standpoint, I like it a little bit more. But it is not quite as dark or caramely as their Marzen Oktoberfest, which is very good. I had it last weekend. I went to the Tap Shakopee. It's like a beer festival in Shakopee, and I kept circling back to the Lupulin tent and having Oktoberfest, and so it's a good beer. And this year they typically had the Elk River. Was it the Elk River?
The Elk River German band.
Yes. What a great.
Oh my gosh, were they fun.
What a great time. Yeah. They
Especially
got the crowd going
the
too.
The two gentlemen on the right-hand side that were both trumpet players, and I think they both had another instrument that they were playing.
Yeah.
They were into what they were doing.
Yes, very much
They
so.
had some little moves that they were doing. They'd stand up at funny times. They were were highly entertaining.
So, you get the Oompa band, the Oompa music, the brass band, you get the tuba, the trumpet going, the clarinet. It's just
they had a great singer
really
too.
fun. Yeah, they
She
did
was
some
awesome.
vocals. festivals, they typically do their music outside. This was the first year it was inside. And I really like, if you haven't been up to Lupulin, their event space is called the Stave. And it's just a really nice room, not too big, not too small, but it's got like a mezzanine level. They've got low tables, high tables, very comfortable seating.
Yes.
I think as far as bar stools go, Lupulin has some of the best because they're very comfy. I don't know why, but my on certain high top table, my legs do not go to the ground and they start to fall asleep, and then
it's uncomfortable.
That can be a little tricky. But yeah, Lupulin has very comfortable. So it was in their Stave. They had like some like cool, like, what would you call those, like flags hung from the ceiling, the little triangular ones that are like blue and white, whatever, they're checkered
like
design.
Flags.
Yeah, festival flags. So it was very, very decorated, and just kind of like a lot of people there were dressed up, lederhosen and dirndls and different things, and beers. And the mugs they kind of do different mugs every year or every couple years. I really like the mugs this year. They kind of like clay. No, not clay. Porcelain. Are they porcelain? Some
and
sort
it's got
of
like a little pewter.
Yeah, like a pewter kind of like emblem on the front. So those are really cool. A fun way to kick it off.
It would have been nice to have been outside because it was like the temperature was nice. It wasn't rainy yesterday, but having the band inside and having that space be full of people, it made a difference. Like it was a different vibe than it would have been outside.
Yeah, and I guess I go either way on that. I think it seems like the last couple of years for that Oktoberfest, it has been unseasonably warm. So then you're like out there, if you've got a big liter stein, your beer's getting cooked.
Yeah.
It's not staying warm. And I don't know, some people get real particular about drinking beer in the sun because beer will get light struck and then it starts emitting like kind of like a skunky aroma, which isn't very appetizing. But I can see, there's more room outside. Yeah. But the one thing I think with an event like that, you want it to feel crowded.
Yes.
You want it to kind of mimic a beer hall. And I think when it's outside, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people here, but it doesn't feel crowded. There's a vibe, when we were in the Stave and the band was playing and people were clapping and singing along, there's a festive atmosphere there that, this show is a lot about highlighting the vibe and the atmosphere of a brewery. And so I think it's like sometimes if an event space is huge, there could be 50 people there, but it doesn't feel like it. There's some tap rooms that I'm like, oh gosh, it feels dead in here. But then you count, I'm like, oh yeah, there's 35 people here, but it's so spread out. So I don't know, like,
the people in that room were engaged with the band.
Yeah.
If you weren't into the band, you were going to go to a different spot to hang out because you would need to get away from that.
Yeah.
So the atmosphere was, if you're in that room, here's what's happening and we're all participating.
Yeah. Now, was that your first Lupulin Oktoberfest? I know you've been to Lupulin before.
So I've only been to Lupulin for events.
Oh, yeah.
So
okay.
I think we probably, this is going to be rough, Dan. We probably need to find a time to go up there when it's not event time, just to chill in the
and
brewery
relax
and have a beer.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've really been to Oktoberfest before.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you want to give a 5 out of 5 pretzel rating? Like a
I
out
like
of 5?
that.
You want to? So how many pretzels would you rate the Fulton Oktoberfest?
Okay, do I get to, is this like my own scale where I get to just give what I give?
So we'll say a 5. 5 pretzels is like the atmosphere was fun, the beer was fun, the beers were good, and
I'm going back next year.
You'd go back next year for sure.
Fulton is a 5.
Okay, all right. So 5 out of 5 pretzels for Fulton. What about Lupulin?
Lupulin, 5.
We got 2 5 out of 5s. Then after that, we went to Heavy Rotation.
We did. Heavy Fest.
Heavy Fest. Every time I hear Heavy Rotation, I think of the movie Back to the Future when Marty McFly would say, "This is heavy, Doc." and we got there probably around 5-ish.
Yeah.
4:35-ish. So Heavy Rotation is in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. It's a great place. It's a small brewery. I believe their brew house is a 3.5 barrel brew house, which I think last time we talked about what a barrel is. Do you remember how many gallons that is?
Oh my gosh, are you quizzing me? I didn't know there was going to be a test today.
Oh, there's going to be a test.
I don't remember, Dan.
Just shout out a number.
I can't.
Just do it.
I can't.
Between 1 and 31 and a half.
31 and a half.
For a barrel?
I don't even know what the question was anymore.
Well, you were right.
sweet.
31 and a half gallons is a barrel of beer.
Yes.
So there you go.
Nailed it.
So 3.5 barrels. This is not huge. And the kind of like the thing behind their name is heavy rotation. There's a heavy rotation. They rotate through their beers a lot because their batches are so small. And I think they do a really nice job of providing within the parameters of being a small brew house. They have a lot of really good styles.
They have so much variety. Whenever I go up there, I freeze looking at their menu board.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the beer deer in the headlights thing is common there. I think I said it to you. I ordered their Marzen, and then I'm like, what did you get? And you were like, I got their dry hop fest beer. I'm like, I should have got that. And it's like, there's never a wrong choice there.
Well, and that's the good part. There really truly is not a wrong choice.
Yeah. So I got the Marzen, you got the fest beer, and it was nice. There was a band playing. What was the band's name?
The Lowdown.
The Lowdown. The Lowdown was playing at heavy rotation. I think they were just setting up when we got there. It was a decent crowd out on the patio. It was so nice that nobody was really inside.
That was opposite of Lupulin, where the band is inside. All the people were sitting outside. You could still hear the music and stuff, but I'm sure it was a little bit weird for the band, like the audience is outside.
Yeah.
We were all enjoying the music and singing along and like bopping along with it, but we weren't in front of them where they could see us.
Yeah. Well, and we were on the patio, and it's always nice when you can kind of like when you go to a brewery and the brewers hanging out there.
Yes.
Because I really enjoyed Josh, and his partner Jesse was there, and they love dogs. And there was the most adorable dog.
Buddy
the dog. He was a dachshund.
Yeah.
So he kind of felt like they were celebrating his German heritage. And he was just like this adorable like little guy in kind of like how would you describe the rig that he was in? So
Buddy was a little mobily challenged.
Yep.
It didn't look like he had the use of his back legs. So they had this whole like contraption thing set up.
Yeah.
So his back legs were up in the air. So he was on wheels in the back, and he would just run around with his front legs. And when I saw that dog moving around, he was quite agile and quite adept at moving around with this whole mechanism.
Yeah.
But in talking to Buddy's owners, it sounds like he's not been using that for very long, which was even more amazing that
because he was moving around very, very well.
Yeah.
That was really neat.
He was a very, very sweet dog.
Yeah. He's adorable. Just like very happy. And his owner was like, all he cares about is where his next meal is coming from. So that was fun. The beers there are always good. I like the social aspect of it. I like their bartenders are really cool. Like Mason was there.
Shout out to Mason.
Like he's really fun. Like I don't know him that well, but so I've seen him at Railworks and I've seen him at Heavy Rotation. But he's a nice guy.
I think he recognizes my deer in headlights when I'm looking up at the board, and he helps me out.
Oh sure, it's good to have. Good to find the helpers. Mr. Rogers used to say that in times of trouble.
Mason's my helper.
Look for the helpers. Yeah. And the beers are great. It wasn't
an Oktoberfest like the other two were Oktoberfests.
I mean, they had some decorations and obviously great beers, but then they always have so many different ones. And I think that's hard when you're doing a bunch of brewery stops in a day.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I wish I could, I wish I had like an extra liver and a new fresh bloodstream that I could like swap out midway through, because I was like, I can probably have like one or two light beers, but like I didn't venture towards any of their other like heavier beers. But
you did have a list of beers that you wanted to try that you had not had before.
Yeah,
but didn't get a flight. You committed to one.
No, yeah, because they had a Zwickel beer, which is you don't see that every day. You don't hear that every day. So Zwickel beer is kind of like a Keller beer. It's like a younger lagered beer. So it's typically a little bit cloudier, a little bit hazy, because it has not had time for everything to drop out and clarify, but it's still very crisp. I think that one was like maybe 4%, maybe 4.2%. So a very easy drinking crisp beer, which on a day like yesterday when it was kind of like a 50% chance of rain, I felt, for the whole weekend. And I think we kind of lucked out because I don't think it started raining until later. So that was nice. Heavy Rotation is great. I recommend heading up there if you're listening and you're like, I've never been there before. Go there. They also have a lot of like really good events in their tap room. I know they do like a meat raffle, a weekly meat raffle. They always have, I met you up there one time to see Grunge Unplugged, your favorite band. So they have a lot of live music. Sometimes they'll have my buddy DJ Scallybrad up there spinning records. I went there. So you went to the Lagerfest that I missed. I was out of town.
Yeah.
On like August 2nd or 3rd or whatever. They did, I don't know if it was their first one, but I went to their Lagerfest it might have been in February or something. And they had DJ Scallybrad there. DJ Scallybrad is Brad Ashton, but his DJ persona is DJ Scallybrad.
I like it.
And he spins records, I think every other Thursday at Gambit Brewing in St. Paul. But he's really good at it. And he has a great variety of music. And as a joke, when I was there for the lager thing, I was like, hey, you got any Weird Al in there? And he's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, my God, you're my hero. So shout out to DJ Scallybrad. Also, he's also a One Pint Stand Patreon keg stander supporter.
Excellent.
So he gets a shout out every episode.
I like that.
But he's a good dude. I've known him for a long time. He's been very involved in the local craft beer scene for many, many years. I think he was involved in the craft beer scene before I was, because I met him through Paige.
Oh my
who
gosh.
you also met on Friday.
I finally got to meet Paige.
Yeah,
the
Paige is
infamous
great.
Paige.
Yeah, we were Paige and I were joking around about those Edelweiss. We're back to the Edelweiss dancers. I took some video and I posted it to Instagram, and my reel said,
Oh no.
It's just like, because he's slapping himself, and I'm just like, the mosquitoes love this guy. It just it just sounded really funny to me. So yeah, how many pretzels would you give Heavy Rotation?
I mean, am I rating them on an Oktoberfest scale or just a hey, do I like going there scale?
I guess
because it wasn't like an Oktoberfest.
True.
But it was a fun event day with a band playing and great beer and great people.
One of the highlights at Lupulin was the brewer dropping the beer plague.
Oh my God. So we went outside just to see what was going on outside. People were playing, and I'm sorry for the Midwestern coming out here. There were people playing bags.
Grapes.
That was happening outside.
Lots of bags happening.
There was like
here.
an inflatable kids thing that they were
bounce
jumping
house.
bounce house thing.
I couldn't get you.
No, you were going to go in the bounce
no,
house.
I wasn't.
I was never.
I would have wound up in a boot if I would have. I would have been in some sort of contraption like Buddy had I gone to the bounce house.
No. So there were festivities happening outside, and you had given me a demonstration of the nail and the hammer game.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to in a second.
Yes.
Because I don't want to let that go untalked about either. They had one inside, one outside. I went over to the one outside, and because the guy that was at it was spinning the hammer and then hitting it, and spinning the hammer in his hand and then hitting it. I'm like, well, that's cool. I'm going to take a video of that. So I go to take a video. He spins the hammer and he hits the nail, and one of the Lupulin employees who was standing next to the table, the timing could not have been more perfect. He just drops his beer.
Like a full beer.
And it splatters all over the ground.
Yeah.
And his friend next to him just kind of looks at him for a second, and then he starts laughing. He's like, please tell me you got that on video.
Yeah,
like,
that was good. You were right on time with the video on that one.
It was like the one time I was in the right spot at the the right time.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry for him that it was captured on video, but I've watched that video many, many times, Dan, and it makes me laugh every time I see it.
So I love when stuff like that happens, when you get the fortuitous thing. Way back when, in another life, when I used to write for a different blog, I went out to Great American Beer Festival. With Lupulin and my friend Eric, who is a very skilled and very decorated home brewer. He's won so many awards. We had gone to, Great American Beer Festival is a beer festival in Denver, Colorado. It's a beer competition. At its heyday, they probably had about 4,000 or 5,000 breweries would all go out there and enter beers in a competition, but also it's like a huge beer festival organized by region of the country. So you had like the West Coast, the Mid-Atlantic, and Midwest, and different things. It was there were 4 sessions, and it would go from Thursday to Saturday. There were also events around the festival.
Oh, wow.
Because people would come in, I flew out on Monday, and there were like beer things happening. There were a lot of other beer festivals around. So like one of the things was What the Funk. It was a celebration of mixed fermentation beers. And so you got this fancy almost like a little wine glass.
Nice.
And it was all these like iconic brands that were either from Europe or breweries in the United States that were known for mixed fermentation beers. So
Bringing the funk.
Bringing the funk. And so like you had the best of the best from anything barrel aged, anything aged in a barrel, but you had, some of the really awesome like lambics and different things like that. You had dark sours, light sours, and then like there were also some like barrel aged stouts there. So like I know that one of the big ones that I had never had until that festival was Fremont has I think it was called Rusty Nail. It's like it was an amazing like wax dip stout, and they were pouring that. But I used to do a thing at beer festivals called Live from a Porta-John.
Oh no.
So I would start the Facebook Live in the porta potty, and it was very much like the Fulton porta potty experience on Friday, where it was very dark. So I started the Facebook Live, and I was like, "Do not adjust your screens. I'm here." And then I heard the porta potty door next to me open, and it was like 3, 2, 1, and somebody had like a reversal of fortune. It was like,
no.
It was just like it was the funniest. It was the funniest timing for something like that. And then I went out to find Eric, and I doing my Facebook Live. He's like, "Hello," and I'm like, "You will not believe what just happened." It was one of the highest rating Facebook Lives I ever did because of that funny moment. So that was the reason I'm telling you this. Back on track now. It was very much like you getting video and the guy dropping the beer. I love it when a plan comes together like that. The unscripted, hilarious moments that happen at a beer event. So
crazy things can happen.
Yeah. So
that game, however, it's an Oktoberfest thing.
Yeah.
I've seen it at other places.
Yep.
I didn't really know what it was. You explained it to me. There's a big wooden tabletop. Mm-hmm. You take a nail.
Yeah, it's like a cutting of a tree.
Yeah, you put the nail in just a little bit.
Yep.
And then you're supposed to use the sharp side.
Sharp side of a hammer. I don't know what that particular hammer is called. The game is called Hammerschlagen. The reason breweries call it the hammer in nail game is because Hammerschlagen is now a company, and they will sue you if you call it Hammerschlagen.
That's friendly.
Yeah. So,
Yay, games.
And I suck at that game, but I was trying to demonstrate it for you. And
I wasn't taking video.
I've never done this before. I got the nail in like 2 hits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't get that on camera.
It took me a minute.
Sad.
I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like you did the thing you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't
it's
normally
hard.
happen.
Yeah. Especially, usually at an Oktoberfest, you're drinking, so your hand-eye coordination gets a little off. And we could argue the pros and cons of giving people hammers when they're hammered, but that's probably another podcast for another time. But
it very much looked like you were a pro at the game.
Yeah.
Like you just hit it and walked away, and that's it.
That one moment in time, I was a Hammerschlagen pro, but I've never. Maybe I can. I said to you I could do that 100 more times, and it would not go as smoothly. So
you didn't try again. So as far as I'm concerned, that's what happens every time.
Quit. Go out on a high note.
Yep.
So heavy rotation. It was Heavy Fest. They had Oktoberfest beers there, and I think earlier in the day, I think they said if you were one of the first 50 people there, you got a free pretzel.
Yeah.
From Aki's, which is Aki's Bread House over in Northeast Minneapolis, right down the hallway from Broken Clock.
Oh.
Yeah. And
convenient.
so like that, their pretzels are very, very yummy. They had Aki's pretzels to give away. So it was kind of like I would call it Oktoberfest light celebration.
Yes.
Any reason to go to Heavy Rotation is great.
Heavy Rotation is another place that is slightly out of the way for me to get to.
Yep.
But I love going there.
Yeah. Like I would prefer to go there than some other breweries that are closer to me just because I like the vibe.
Yeah.
And I think they're small and I really like what they do.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah.
A 1 pint stand. I'm brewing a beer with Josh, a collab, and it's going to be a Belgian Dark Strong. So we're brewing it in the middle of October. He brewed a Belgian Double, and the yeast he's then going to take to use for the Belgian Strong because it's a bigger beer, so the yeast needs to be really, really ramped up for that.
I heard you guys start talking about this collab and the different flavors and things that were going to be happening.
Yep.
And I started to get so excited that I had to kind of like tune it out. Like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm excited. Their owners are pretty cool, and they're really good examples of why I think small craft breweries are important.
Yeah.
Because they're not in distribution. They do crowlers. You can get beer to go. I think it's really cool because they're really celebrating the craft because they're not beholden to distributors. They're not beholden to what's selling. Josh can brew beers that he likes and that he knows are good. They have an award-winning English Dark Mild, and like nobody else really does that. But that's a flagship. That's always on tap there, as well as their Farmer Frank's Cream Ale.
Yep.
And that's like a very, very good beer. That's won awards as well. You know, it's great to support like the big ones. Everybody knows Surly and Shells and Summit. All those are great. But don't forget about the little places that are really doing good things. So I think anytime I can try to pump the heavy rotation tires, I like to do that.
And I will say they also have a pretty solid open mic crew.
Oh, okay.
So they frequently do like an open mic night.
Is that on Mondays?
When I went, I believe it was on a Sunday.
Okay.
But they might have changed it.
Yeah.
It might be something that changed it, but I'm pretty sure it's still like a weekly event for them.
Yeah.
But they've really got some fun people. I think when I went, it was all musicians. It was all different kinds of music. Some really talented people.
Yeah, it's cool. So check out Heavy Rotation's social media to make sure you're figuring out all their different events. And I mean, I guess we didn't mention this, but Lupulin does great events too. They've always got fun stuff going on. They have a lot of live music in the stave, so that's good. So we were 2 visits in.
Oh, yeah.
And
one more to
we
go.
were like, hey, we needed one more.
We needed one more.
And there were a couple different options for where we were going to go.
Yep.
We were thinking about Broken Clock. They were doing a big, huge
Clocktoberfest.
And they were having a big band. And I was like, well, if it rains, it kind of looked like it was going to rain. And then Northbound Smokehouse and Brew Pub was having their, I believe, 13th anniversary. Well, they have food.
The food was a selling point.
You know, and food is always really good. I'm like, oh, maybe we should do that instead. So we decided to go to Northbound. I feel like that was the right choice.
I think
because they also had a really good Oktoberfest beer, and they had a brat special, which was really yummy.
That brat, I really think, is going to ruin all other brats for me.
Yeah, it was good. I like the mustard and the kraut ratio. I think their fries are really good.
Their fries are delicious.
As simple as that sounds, there's a lot of places that don't know how to make a good fry.
Yeah.
So they have a really good fry. Very crisp, pretty big, kind of like, you know, they leave the skin on the potatoes. I think that's like a good thing.
Yeah.
Just the right amount of salt for me. So I like, you know, not too much, not too little. You talk about deer in the headlights. When I go there, I'm so used to ordering a Pravi Pils. So they're like, what do you want? I'll do a Pravi Pils. And then I look up, I'm like, oh, shit, I should have gotten the Oktoberfest.
Well, even with your food selection, you had been talking all day about the fried chicken sandwich. Like, that is what you were goaling for all day.
Yep. Yeah, I get pretty locked in on their fried chicken. Well, I love fried chicken sandwiches. So, like, if I'm going out, I'm like, oh, maybe figure out a way to get a fried chicken sandwich into my life. And I actually have a pretty good friend. Her name is Sarah. Every time I'm with her, when we're out and about, I always get a fried chicken sandwich. And she's like, are you going to get a fried chicken sandwich? I'm like, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm going to get something different to throw you off. And then I always do wind up getting a fried chicken sandwich.
But this time,
totally
changed it.
Well, Andy, the brewer, who was there hanging out with his brother Mitch, we'll get into that in a second, was like, we also have an Oktoberfest special. I was like, $12 brat? Yes, let's do it. Let's get that going. And it was really good. And it went really well with the Oktoberfest.
And it was on a pretzel bun. The brat itself was delicious.
Pretzel bun. And I typically don't love a pretzel bun on a burger. I feel with a brat, it's kind of perfect.
It was amazing.
That was very good. But their Oktoberfest was good.
Yeah.
More of a Martin, kind of richer toasted malt, a little bit more on the caramely side, but still very crisp. But the big highlight, I think, was bringing Andy a 4-pack of Lupulin's Doppelbock because Andy and Lupulin have both won awards.
Yeah, big
for
awards.
their Doppelbocks.
Yeah.
It just seemed right for me to bring him those beers, and he was very excited. And then we did a side-by-side tasting of the Northbound award-winning Doppelbock and the Lupulin award-winning Doppelbock, and that was really cool. What did you like about that experience?
It was really fun to sample them because, again, you kept talking about how similar these beers were. It was really fun to sample both of them together because for me, one of them, they did have a difference in taste for me.
Yeah. How would you describe that difference?
It's not like one was better than the other, but the Northbound one, Andy's beer, had, for me, a little bit more flavor. There was just a little more flavor to it.
Okay.
And you later called it was more full-bodied or something very official sounding.
Yep.
I was just like, there's more flavor in my mouth.
Well, yeah, but that's fair. Because I think texture does contribute to the flavor.
Yeah.
I think that the lupulin one came off as a little bit more roasty and a little bit drier.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, it doesn't kind of like stay on your palate as long. Whereas the northbound one kind of stays on there. It has a little bit more residual sweetness, I would say.
See, you just explained it a lot better.
Yeah.
And I will say, I still want to get Andy and Aaron together and have them blind taste test those two beers to see if they can each pick out which one is theirs.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Well, I mean, it's not often that you ever really get to do that with beers that win an award because they're oftentimes brewed at like different times of the year or they're not available. I mean, after Andy won the World Beer Cup, when people found out that like an American brewery won for a German style, that means they have to beat out all the German breweries who have been brewing that beer for hundreds of years. So like Paulaner, Hackershore, all of those breweries that brew a Doppelbock.
Yeah.
And he won, and then people were like, "Oh, I want to go try it." Well, if that beer's not on tap, you can't just whip it up. You know, like he lagers it for months. It's on tap twice a year now. People have to get in there and try it. So the same with lupulin. Lupulin, they brew theirs to release around the fall, late summer, early fall. And so if you don't get it then, you gotta wait till the next year. But yeah, it's really fun to do that side by side comparison. And I took a picture and sent it to Aaron. I'm like, we're tasting these side by side. He's like, "Oh, fun. That sounds so cool." That was really fun. I first met Andy's brother Mitch at we're gonna get into this now. At the Minnesota Brewers Cup Awards. They look
nothing alike.
Anything alike. But I said, "All right, Courtney, close your eyes, and I want each of you to say the phrase, 'I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler,'" which you're like, where did that come from? I'm like, well, that was just a catchphrase from like an 80s. I think it was like a muffler company that was like their slogan. When they talk, then you're like, you're both definitely related. And when we had gotten there, I think Mitch he had been into his pints and quarts a bit.
He was in his cups.
So he was having a good time, and just the back and forth that they were having, and it was
and I think the first thing Andy said to us, he leaned over and he says, "You guys, I took his car keys when he wasn't looking."
Oh yeah, because that's very important.
It was very important. It was very nice of him. But we also got to hear Mitch frequently say, like, "I don't know where my car keys are."
Yeah, and then Andy would look over and just give us a look. It was almost like an episode of The Office because Andy kept having these really funny facial expressions because Mitch was like going on and about some different rants and things. And it was at one point he was on the phone. Do you remember he was on the phone with somebody? And that was just kind of funny. But they got home fine. They got in a lift, and rumor has it that Andy was going to make pancakes this morning. I'm like, well, if you're making pancakes, what time should I be over? I don't live that far from Andy, so I could have just like biked over there. But that was really fun. And I always enjoy hanging out with Andy because I feel like I learned a lot about beer from Andy.
Yeah.
He's been in the industry a long time. He knows his way around a lager. And I think really when Northbound opened back in 2012, they weren't doing lagers. Lagers weren't very popular. Back then, lagers were viewed as, that's the beer my grandpa drinks.
Yeah.
And wasn't very flavorful and different things. That was the perception of it. Obviously, we know that lagers can have a lot of flavor, but it was around the pandemic, and I think this is like one of a very few silver linings from COVID was that they weren't having as many people in there, so they're like, well, we could maybe start doing lagers now because lagers take longer to ferment.
Yeah.
Lagers use a different yeast strain than ales. So lagers take, if you're going to do them well, they take a minimum of 6 weeks to sit in the tank and ferment.
Yeah.
Because the yeast ferments around 32 degrees versus ale yeast ferments at a much higher temperature, so it doesn't take as long. All that's important because if you only have so many tanks and you're lagering beer, that beer needs to sit in a tank for 6 weeks. Whereas if you are doing IPAs or pale ales or brown ales or amber ales, they go through a lot faster, and you could probably turn that tank over multiple times.
Yeah.
But if a beer just has to sit in there, well, then you're not selling that beer. You're not making any money. You're not paying your rent. Beer. That's why that's noteworthy. So they started doing that during the pandemic. I ran into Andy a couple of years ago. He's like, hey, you should come by. We're doing some pretty cool lagers. And Paige, she and her husband Rick live in that general vicinity. They go there all the time. And she was like, I tried their like Pilsner. It was really, really good. You should get in and try it. So I've it kind of fell out of the rotation for me just because I used to go there a lot when they opened, and then more places opened that were close closer to me. And, I'm very much a creature of habit. I kind of go on my little route. And, like, if a place
Your beer
isn't
route?
on my route, it's tough to mix it in. But northbound has become more of a frequent stop for me, probably in the last year and a half, I would say. Also, they have a Wing Wednesday. So their smoked wings are sensational. If you go there on Wednesday from 3 to 6, you can get them for half price, which is basically
crazy,
like insane. And they probably have the best happy hour in the city. Tuesdays they had $2.50 beers. Every other day of the week during happy hour from 3 to 6, they're $3.50.
Also crazy.
So very, very nice. So it's like there are happy hours. Craft beer doesn't need to be expensive.
Nope.
So we had a lot of fun. And then I was like, I feel like an old fashioned. So I got their Canadian old fashioned, which is made with Old Forester bourbon, a little bit of maple in the simple syrup, and I think it's really good. My only complaint, they don't serve it with a cherry.
Oh.
So it's a minor.
I mean, you know a guy you can talk to about that over there.
I should just start bringing my own Luxardo cherries with me.
Yeah.
Because I love those cherries. That's my preferred cherry to have in an old fashioned.
That's a good idea.
So.
The fun part about listening to you and Andy talk, Andy, when you have a job, any job, it doesn't have to be a brewing job, but just any job, at some point you're not going to talk very passionately about your job. You've been there for a while. This is just kind of what you do. It's your day-to-day kind of stuff. When Andy talks about brewing beer, he's still excited about it. He's so excited about it.
Very
And
passionate.
He's proud of what he does. He's proud of what he's been able to accomplish there. I love listening to him talk about beer.
Yeah, I agree. I just think he's passionate about a lot of things. He's very passionate about politics, very passionate about like all sorts of different stuff. But beer, I love talking beer with him.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I always learn something. And I think there's some people that you can learn a lot from, but the way they disseminate that information can be hard to access.
Yeah.
I think he puts it in a very easy, accessible way to learn about it. But he also gives probably the best hugs. For being just a wee lad. He really latches on. He's the one I'd want at my table if I were choking. I think he could give a mean Heimlich maneuver.
All right.
But yeah, so the brats, the beers, the old fashioned, the company, it was all
the
great.
comic relief.
I thought, I thought that was the great way to kind of really put a really nice exclamation point on the day. So how many pretzels would you give the northbound?
Again,
October?
It wasn't like we kind of missed their
I guess it wasn't.
Oktoberfest
Well,
festivities.
it wasn't. And again, I guess I misspoke. It was their anniversary party.
Yes.
It wasn't an Oktoberfest, but they said it was pretty well attended. And I think that that's always just a fun place to go. I think if you're out going to multiple things, you should always plan for the last place to be a place where you can have food.
Yeah.
I just think that's a good pro tip. So
especially if it's food as good as
and northbound has excellent food. I mean, it's bad if you're hungry and you look at that menu, you can get a little bit of a paralysis of choice because there's so many good things. And as Mitch was saying, the smoked trout salad is probably something everybody should try at least 17 times in their life. Yeah, he was going on and on about that. He was a big proponent of the smoked trout salad.
Maybe next time. Maybe next time. But I'll make note of it for Mitch.
Yeah.
So he knows he made an impact.
Yep. Oh, he made a definite impact. It was really funny. I was chuckling all the way home between the byplay. Also, there was I think it's really cool to be around people who are related. As somebody who's adopted, I've never been in the same room with anybody who shares any of my DNA.
Yeah.
So when I get to see people who look like each other and just like are like siblings or something.
Or sound like each other.
Yeah, or sound like each other. It's really cool. We don't need to get into the details and particulars, but Mitch told a very kind of embarrassing story about Andy, and the look on Andy's face was just like, what are you doing? Why are you saying this? And then there was one point where Mitch took Andy's hat and then he was trying to put it on his head, and he was trying to put his hat on Andy's head, and their heads aren't the same size.
No.
It was this big thing. At one point he spilled his espresso martini and it was just
all over
it
Andy.
was just kind of like Andy was ready to go home at that point. But it was fun. I always love going to northbound. So that's the second time I've been there with you.
Yeah.
But you've been there many times, right?
Not many times, but a couple other times.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So looking forward, what are some Oktoberfests that you're also excited about?
Well, next weekend.
Yeah.
It'll be the Saturday after this episode comes out. We are going to
so
be back
September
here at Wandering Leaf.
26th and 27th.
Yeah.
So 27th, Saturday, September 27th, we're going to be here at Wandering Leaf. They're doing their Oktoberfest party. They also have a Doppelbock on. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think we're going to sneak over to St. Paul Brewing.
Yep, St. Paul Brewing also has theirs on the 27th.
Yeah, and I think maybe that Friday we're doing Waldman.
We're doing Waldman. Yeah, that's a good one. Now, Waldman also was happening this weekend. It's actually happening right now. They do Friday through Sunday on each weekend. So next weekend, you could go Friday, Saturday, or Sunday and check it out. And
I appreciate that they're giving me options, and I don't have to be like, if I don't go on this day, I missed it.
I really like the 2-weekend thing. I know there's pros and cons of just having it be one weekend or one day even. Like Lupulins is just on the 20th. I don't know. It kind of it gives you choices and some flexibility because I like to try to fit in as many as I can. And I don't like to, I have major FOMO. I don't like missing out. So it's nice to be able to do as many things as you can. And they're all kind of different in their own little way.
They are.
So like next Friday, you'll be, I think you're in for a treat, but I don't want to build it up too much. But Waldman has just a really cool vibe. It's not huge. It's out in their beer garden. They've got a tent. There's the awesome Ukrainian band that they get every year, and they're just killer. It's just fun.
I'm very excited for this.
And their beers are fantastic.
Yeah.
Matt does a great job brewing over there. They have horizontal tanks.
All right.
Hoo-ah!
That's right. Horizontal tanks. That's very exciting for brewing lagers. This is maybe more nerdy than you wanted to get, and this is the last nerdy thing I'll say. The yeast, okay, when it sits in the bottom, if the tank is horizontal, the yeast interacts more with the beer. It does its job more. That's how it gets crisper, and it gets like that perfect flavor, that perfect mouthfeel. There's way more science behind it, but that's why you would have a horizontal tank. It's very good for lager.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, so it'll be fun.
Our St. Paul extravaganza next weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be great. The capital city. That's why I live there. I like to, St. Paul is, it's like the less cool of the two twin cities. I'm okay with that. I like a little sleepier kind of a place.
You live in St. Paul and you play in Minneapolis.
That's right. Equal opportunity.
That's what I was always told.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much, that's how it works. St. Paul has some pretty cool craft breweries in their own right. So it's you can go to both. Some people don't. Some people either they stay in Minneapolis or they stay in St. Paul. I've never understood that.
Go explore.
Yeah, get out. This is the brewery adventure, right?
Yeah, that's what we're here
for.
for.
Life is an adventure. Don't just stay. Sometimes you gotta get out of your routine. I'm guilty of it. I try to get out of my routine more, but
there's lots of places out there with lots of cool stuff to see, lots of cool stuff to drink, lots of cool people to meet.
All the above. And beer's a great way to do that too.
Yeah.
Traveling around, going to breweries, meeting different people in different places.
It's okay to talk to strangers at a brewery.
Absolutely. I recommend it. And find out where their favorite places are. Yeah. I always ask, you're not going to find, if the people you're meeting in breweries are not going to be the people that are like, oh, I just go to Applebee's and the Olive Garden. They're out and about. They're going to the indie coffee shops. Yeah. They know where the cool bookstores are. They know where the record stores are. They know where the cool music is.
Yeah.
They know where the meat raffles are. They know where to get a good grape ape shot. Closed circuit debris. I know she's listening. So it's craft breweries are great places to meet people because people care about what they're drinking if they're at a craft brewery.
Yes, they do.
Unless they use MapQuest, then they could just be lost.
Is MapQuest still a thing?
Let's go to commercial.
With that, Dan, where can people find you if they want to contact you?
Well, you can find me at onepintstand.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitter, and I have a TikTok.
Are you going to tell us why you have a TikTok?
Well, I have a TikTok because Charles, my friend, accused me of being a boomer at one point for not having one. So I'm like, oh, fine, I'll get a TikTok.
It's my favorite
Now
thing.
I like it. So, yeah, at a One Pint Stand on all those various things. You can also read my stuff at aonepintstand.com.
You can find me, Courtney, at thebreweryadventure.com. You can visit the website, thebreweryadventure.com, or find us on Instagram at thebreweryadventure. Make sure you put in The Brewery Adventure because otherwise there's some other stuff floating around there that's not us, and I can't vouch for their quality.
Probably isn't as cool.
Not as cool.
I'll say it.
Well, thank you, Dan. We've got some beers to finish up and some more fun to be had here at Wandering Leaf in St. Paul. We're off to more adventures next weekend and the next episode after that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Cheers.
Cheers. That was a good one.
That was better.
Hoo-ah!